Greetings and salutations, everybody. My name is MiAh the King, and today we're looking at a little game that came out just a couple days ago called Survive the Blackout. I did this one, and I did Stone Shard at the same time. If you didn't see Stone Shard, then I want to go ahead and apologize now. I'm getting a little bit sick, so if I sound stuffed up, I apologize. But this is a first impressions review video, which is not quite a first impressions and not quite a review. I'm pretty confident at trying to make this my own thing. It's more of something in between the two. So, I played this game for about 106 minutes, give or take, and I've got a lot to say about it. This video isn't going to be very long because honestly there isn't much to this game to talk about. First things first though, please do me a favor and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. If you don't want to be bothered by notifications, then don't click the bell. But if you do, then click out the bell. It's going to tell you when I put out new videos. So, I'm going to recommend hitting that bell as well. Now then, the Steam store page describes the game like this. Survive the Blackout is a narrative survival game set in a dark post-apocalyptic world. Choose your adventure type gameplay, squad level management, exploration, and scavenging, difficult moral choices. Don't let the blackout break you, survive. Now, that's pretty vague and broad. I mean, you could literally describe any or all survival games like that. So, it doesn't really tell you much except for the squad level management and choose your own adventure type gameplay. But even then, you have games like Sheltered and This War of Mud. And honestly, those games are far better than this one. Ugh, sorry. I'm feeling a lot worse than I was the other day when I did Stone Shard, so I deeply apologize. But I want to get this out as soon as possible to try to help some people. In fact, the only saving grace this game has is its price. The game is only $10. But is it worth even those $10? I mean, does it offer $10 worth of content? Well, I suppose in a way it does. I mean, it does have a game. It does have about 2 hours of gameplay, roughly. I can say that because after my 106 minutes or so, multiple deaths, and, I was getting pretty close to the end of the game. So, let's say you play once, and everything goes your way. It'd probably take you an hour or two to beat the game. But the game is so unfair and so super hard that it's unlikely you'll get a perfect run. In fact, the only reason why this game is longer than 2 hours is probably because it forces you to die and repeat the same thing over and over again. Now, I made a brief snippet in my Stone Shard video where I talked about why all these games are hard. But in a game like this, I can understand how it's so hard, and I can understand why it's hard. It's supposed to be. I guess you could say that for both of these games. But when I want you guys to know that when I'm talking about why is a game so hard, I mean it's hard even for these types of games. I mean, if you were to compare this to This War of Mine or Sheltered, which are the two closest similar games I can think of to this game, those games are difficult, and you can die easily in those games if you're not careful, but it's still manageable, playable, and those games are pretty popular and pretty fun. So, it doesn't have to, when I say it's hard, I mean it's hard for this hard type of gameplay. But before I go any further, let's try to break this down a bit more logically. Let's start off with all the good things that this game offers. Oh, okay. Good thing number one. It's cheap. And yeah, I think that's about it. It doesn't really have any other redeeming qualities. Here, let me show you what I mean, and by that I'm going to tell you everything that's wrong with the game. Number one, it has no sound. And I mean no sound. No music. No sound effects. No nothing. Number two, the gameplay is very basic and simple. Just wait, watch, and respond to events as they pop up. You are offered very little choice, and most of the choices you are given are restricted to certain party characters, who have to be chosen for you in the beginning, which also happens at random. There's like 6 or 7 characters, but only 3 of them go on this journey. You get to pick one of them, and the other 2 are randomly chosen. So if you get lucky, you might get the characters who are more involved in the choices ahead, but if you get unlucky, then you're not going to make it past the first section. Number 3. The combat in this game, if you could even call it that, is terrible. Meaning, there really isn't any real combat. You can't really do any combat until much later in the game, and only if you were lucky enough to find the only knife. That's the only weapon. You can get a cane or a crowbar, but those don't count as weapons. If you don't find that knife, then you're constantly going to be getting beaten up, killed, or robbed. Number 4. The game is very unfair, and I'm talking about it's unfair even for a survival game like this. You rarely get the chance to search for loot, and on the off chance that you do get that chance, 9 out of 10 times it's going to be completely empty. I don't know if this is because of its randomly generated system or if it's intentional, but it's definitely a pile of shit. Number 5. The game is very short. If you get lucky, like I did in my very last run before I stopped playing, I almost beat the game in about 40 minutes before I randomly died. I died of exhaustion, yet my exhaustion meter was still at halfway, so basically the game just decided to screw me over on my last lucky run and killed me in a dumb way that makes it seem broken. Number 6. The game is boring. It's so monotonous and boring, with no sounds, with no real choices, with no real customization, and with a completely unfair system. You find yourself restarting over and over again. And because of this, you memorize which events happen and how you react to them. It'll help mitigate your suffering and help you get a little bit further each time, but even sometimes when you pick the right answer, you're still going to get screwed over because luck, I guess. But mostly you just watch your character walk down a road. You hope for no event to happen because, like I said, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get nothing or you're going to get screwed over. But even though you hope it's not going to happen, you also know it's going to anyway. So, I mean, that's all the bad in a nutshell, really. The graphics are pixelated. They're okay, I guess. It's funny. Normally when I see a game like this, I expect it to be way longer. I mean, the game is just... it's so bad. It was a good attempt, don't get me wrong, but the developers failed in so many aspects of this game. I was really looking forward to this game. I had high hopes for this. I love these survival pixelated games because they're normally massive thanks to their low graphics. I mean, I was really interested in a traveling journey type game in a post-apocalyptic world where drama happens, and it's one of those, pixel survival games. As I said, I love those. But unfortunately, they failed. The only thing they succeeded in was making it pixelated and making it setting a post-apocalyptic world. But everything else was a fail. Its sounds, fail. Its story, fail. Its combat, fail. Its looting mechanics, fail. Its choices matter, BS, fail. And it's a damn shame. But unfortunately, this game just isn't worth it to me. Even for $10, I'm going to get my money back. If it had sound, it'd be worth the $10. And this isn't early access, like Stone Shard. This is a full release, by the way. Even though it's pretty much a fail at what it set out to do, it's intriguing enough and interesting enough and addictive enough to want to keep pushing forward and beat the odds. And if it had some sound effects and some music or something, then it'd be worth the $10. Right now, it's worth $5. If you're really interested in playing this survival, post-apocalyptic pixelated game, it's a casual game that you can play while watching TV or something, then, if that still interests you, you might find this fun little game is for you. But I'm still going to have to suggest you wait for it to go down to half price. But hey, if you have disposable income, this sounds like a fun little game for you, and you don't mind spending the $10, then be my guest. Honestly, I'm disappointed that this game wasn't deeper. For a pixelated game, and with no music, and for such simple mechanics, this game should have been at least like 12 hours long. So, honestly, in my opinion, this game pretty much failed in every way, shape, and form, and to me personally, this game just isn't worth even $10. And if it ain't worth $10 to me, it's probably not worth $10 to you. And you know what? I don't even care if it was $5 and it was a complete crap game. I remember playing a game that was, independent, and it was that Russian game I was making fun of. I can't remember what it was. And it was only like $5. I got my refund for that. I don't care. $1's $1. I'm broke as shit. And if you're like me out there and you don't have money that you can just throw away, then you can't even afford $10. So I'm getting my refund for this $10 pile of crap. Look, I don't want to come off as angry, hateful, or spiteful, but you're going to give me a pixelated, post-apocalyptic game that doesn't even have sound effects of any shape or form. And the game is literally just going to kill me over and over and over again with no chance of survival, because even when I got to a point where I was getting closer to the end of the game, I only had one of my 3 people still alive, and all of his stats were near the top. His stamina meter, mood meter, food meter, and health meter were all near the top. Since he was by himself, all the supplies that I found along my way were his. I didn't have to share. He had a bulletproof vest, and he had a knife, and he had a blanket, which helps with his resting or whatever. And like my dude was decked out, and then I just randomly died from exhaustion. But when I looked, my exhaustion meter was still up. So even when I was playing the game, even though it was annoying me and pissing me off, even when I continued playing the game, and I was, getting to a certain point, the game still killed me off because fuck you. That's why. I'm sorry, but it's not worth it. It's not worth my time. It's not worth your time. The devs didn't even care enough about their game to put sound in it or check it for bugs, if that was a bug. I'd like to know why I died all of a sudden like that. But it's clear that the devs just didn't really care a whole lot, because sound's pretty freaking important, and there was none. That's the biggest thing right there. The fact that I had to sit there and play this game for 106 minutes in absolute silence. That's downright infuriating for me. I mean, not really infuriating, but just definitely mind-boggling how they couldn't put in any sound. It's just lazy. And I'm not going to give them $10 for this. They couldn't even put in a crappy soundtrack. One of those old pixelated ones that only cost you like $5 to buy or whatever. They couldn't even put in something like that. Like that's how lazy and cheap they were. But whatever. I'm not going to continue ranting on. That's all I got for this video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I helped some of you out there either save some money or spend it wisely. I hope I helped someone out there with something. And I hope to see you guys again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you farewell.